You know those little brown spots on our skin? We all call them age spots, and we pretty much just assume they're a normal part of getting older or, spending a little too much time in the sun. But what if that isn't the whole story? What if there's something else going on? Today, we're going to dig into the real mechanism behind them.
I mean, just think about it for a second. If age spots were really just caused by aging or the sun, wouldn't every single person who gets older have them? And why don't all sun lovers get them? I've seen plenty of younger people with them too. It just kind of suggests that something else has to be at play here.
Now that is a bold statement, right? But honestly, it gets right to the heart of what we're talking about today. The common explanations we've all heard, they just don't fully add up. So we're going to look at the real reason these spots show up and how to deal with them, not just on the surface, but from the inside out.
Okay, so first, let's cover what we're always told. Most of the advice you hear points to treatments on the surface, creams, chemical peels, lasers. But here's the thing, these rarely, if ever, provide a permanent fix. And that's because they're only dealing with the symptom, not the actual root cause.
Yeah, the technical term for this is hyperpigmentation. It's basically just little clusters of melanin, which is our skin's natural pigment. And while sure, creams and lasers can fade them for a bit, so many people find they just come right back. That's because the internal signal telling your body to make them is still switched on. So, to find a real, lasting solution, we have to go deeper. We need to understand the secret regulator that's really in charge, the body's internal system for controlling skin pigment. First off, it's super important to know that melanin itself is not the bad guy here. Not at all. It's actually like a protective little umbrella that our skin cells create to shield us from UV light and damage from things called free radicals. A suntan is the perfect example of this. That's a healthy, protective response from your body. Okay, so this is the crucial point right here. The problem isn't the melanin, it's the uneven production of melanin. A tan is a nice, even, controlled release of pigment all over. An age spot, on the other hand, is what happens when the little factories producing that melanin go totally haywire in just one spot. The regulator is basically broken. So what breaks that regulator? Well, the main culprit is something called oxidative stress. Honestly, the easiest way to think about this is like metal rusting. It's a natural process, but when you have way too much of that cell-damaging rust and not enough protective antioxidants to clean it all up, the whole system just gets overwhelmed. So what fights this oxidative stress? Well, the body has a master antioxidant. There's one single regulator that controls both the rust and the melanin production. Its name is glutathione. This one molecule is the key to this entire puzzle. And this is a brilliant way to picture what's happening. When you have enough glutathione, the whole system is balanced. Everything's working fine. But when your levels drop, it's literally like a circuit breaker has blown. Without it, melanin production goes unregulated. It becomes uneven, and suddenly you start seeing those concentrated dark spots pop up on your skin. So, that brings us to the big question. Why does the system break? Why do our glutathione levels drop in the first place? Well, the root causes are often tied to some very common, everyday things. There are actually several key reasons our glutathione can tank. It can be caused by not having enough of the crucial building blocks like selenium or not getting enough high-quality protein. But it also gets drained by our lifestyle, things like chronic stress, a diet high in processed foods and junk, and even big hormonal shifts like menopause. Let's just focus on that first one for a moment, because it is a big one. Selenium is a critical building block for glutathione, and a ton of people are deficient and don't even realize it. Modern farming practices have unfortunately stripped a lot of the natural selenium right out of our soil, making it way harder to get from the food we eat. Okay, so that's the problem, but the really good news is, by understanding the mechanism, we can actually fix it. So let's look at the actionable steps you can take to rebuild your body's defenses from the inside out. The internal fix really boils down to 3 clear steps. First, you have to give your body the raw materials it needs, starting with selenium. Second, you gotta supply high-quality protein to get the right amino acids. And third, you need to make sure other key minerals, like the ratio of copper to zinc, are in the proper balance to support production. And here's probably the most simple and powerful takeaway from this whole thing. How do you get that essential selenium? Just 2 Brazil nuts a day. That's it. That is typically all it takes to get the daily amount your body needs to start rebuilding its glutathione stores. So simple. Now, of course, Brazil nuts aren't the only way to go. You can also find selenium in things like shellfish and oysters. For protein, you want to look at high-quality animal sources like meat, eggs, and fish. They're particularly good for glutathione production. And adding a collagen supplement can also be a fantastic, concentrated source.
So fixing the root cause from the inside, that's the long-term solution, but it does take a little time. So what can you do right now for faster results? Let's look at a two-pronged approach that adds a really simple topical fix into the mix.
While your body is busy rebuilding its internal systems, one of the best and safest things you can apply directly to your skin is a high-quality vitamin C serum. Now, why does this work? Because vitamin C also helps regulate glutathione, but it does it right there on the skin's surface, so it can give you a more immediate effect with very few side effects. This timeline kinda helps manage expectations. You might start seeing some nice improvements from the topical vitamin C pretty quickly, maybe in a week or two. Meanwhile, the internal changes, the real correction, will be working in the background, with more dramatic, lasting improvements often seen between 1 and 6 weeks as your skin cells regenerate. So really, the key here is to stop seeing these spots as just a cosmetic flaw or an inevitable part of getting older. We can reframe them as what they really are, a signal. They're like a helpful little warning light from your body, telling you that a key protective system is running low and it needs your support. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If age spots aren't a normal part of aging at all, but instead they're a sign of a fixable underlying imbalance, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other so-called signs of aging might not be so normal after all?